Just they're bringing the guests. They're bringing the guests. Dear friends, please bear with us. We'll be beginning the press conference in a very short while.
It's fine, it's fine.
So one chair has been added, second one. Also, yeah. You can sit in this order. The names are, you can know, I think you can read up your name. Please come in, sir.
This one?
Where is Dave?
They're coming.
Matt? Okay. And who's here? And who's there?
Ed is where?
Oh. Ed is here?
Yes, Ed is next.
Oh. I need very cool.
Joe, get those shades off, man.
Sorry about that.
Why are you so hot?
Yeah, you can come up again.
On the head. Kept it warm for you, man.
That's cute.
That's man. Where is man?
He's coming. He's stairs.
Hi, Matt. Hi. That's make your blazer on the
White light, man.
Joby, is there anything?
Why you
I said Hunger Games, Harry Potter.
I can't hear myself. I can't hear myself.
No, that's like making it. I was just told something. Infamous?
It's our seating change.
Let's man do a fly check. Make sure it's all good.
Friends, I request you to be seated quickly so that we can begin the press conference. Welcome everybody to the first big press conference of this year's film festival at Goa. Today we have with us the cast and crew of the opening film of this grand festival. The name of the film, The Man Who Knew Infinity. The film has been written and directed by Matthew L. Brown. It's a touching and true story of the friendship between the Indian mathematics genius Ramanujam and his professor G.H. Hardy. The story has its setting at the Trinity College in Cambridge and has a special significance since it portrays how Professor Hardy helped to reveal the genius of Ramanujam in the face of racism and prejudice. The film had its world premiere at the Toronto Film Festival this year. Before I hand over the mic to the esteemed guests, I would like to introduce the film festival director. He's the helm of the affairs and the popular face of the film festival, C. Senthil Rajan. I will be handing over the mic to Swati Bhise, who's the executive producer of Swati Bhise, who's the executive producer of Cayenne and Pepper, and she's the associate producer India for cultural authenticity, as well as the distributor of the India subcontinent. We will be beginning the address by our guests very soon, but before we do that, I first want to request everybody to switch off your cell phones or to keep it on the silent mode. Secondly, I would like to inform you that we are live streaming this press conference on YouTube. So it is a must for every participant to ask their questions in the mic. So kindly raise your hands when you want to ask a question so that we can hand you over the mic. And also it will be appreciated if you can introduce yourself before asking a question for the benefit of all those who are present here. So Swati, over to you.
I'd like to actually give it over to Mr. Senthil and have him speak, and then I will take the mic.
Good evening, everybody. It's a very special occasion for all of us here at IFFI, having an opening film, which actually has an Indian connect and also a Goan connect. Indian connect in the sense that this is a film which celebrates the friendship between the mathematical genius Srinivasa Ramanujan and Professor Hardy, and a Goan connect because we have people who are actually the producers associated with the film based in Goa. And so I think this is a very special occasion, and it has been several months of work to get the entire cast and crew here. And we are really proud and happy that all the cast and crew took time off from their busy schedules and made it to Goa for the opening film. I think I would not like to take some more time, and we would like to listen about the film from the director himself. Thank you.
I'll just introduce each one. Firstly, thank you, Mr. Senthil. It's an honor for The Man Who Knew Infinity to be screened as the opening film of the 46th Film Festival of India. So thank you for having us all here. I'd like to briefly introduce you to our wonderful guests. On my right is Mr. Ed Pressman, who is the producer of the film The Man Who Knew Infinity, and he's extremely not just someone who needs an introduction. He has probably done at least 100 movies, and very famous ones for us Indians, Reversal of Fortune, and of course, we're very proud. Oh boy, that's the effect Ed has. So his name was taken in Reversal of Fortune. He's done Wall Street, American Psycho. I could go on and on, Conan the Barbarian. So Ed Pressman does not really need an introduction. We're very proud that he has made it here. And his wonderful wife, Annie Pressman, is also the associate producer of the film. I'd like to go on to introduce Matthew Brown, who is the director of the film, who took 8 to 9 years, I believe, to have this passion project of his come to light. He has written the script, directed it, and he will tell you much more about it. But he conceived it and put it all together and found all the different people, places, and it's a wonderful thing that it has finally come to be at so many places. Then, of course, who better than Dev Patel to be Ramanujan? And Dev, of course, again, does not need any introduction. The Slumdog Kid has gone on to do so many, and between Chappie and different shows that he's doing, he really doesn't need any introduction. I think everyone knows him in India and abroad. We have, on Matt's right, Joe Thomas, who is the producer as well, Zeitgeist, who has been so supportive in having this project come together in more ways than one. And thank you for being here, along with Mark Montgomery, the producer. We have Devika Bhise, who is acting as Janaki, the wife of Dev Patel and Ramanujan. And she too is very happy to be introduced in this movie in her first big role, along with the others that she's done in Elementary, as well as continuing to do Shambhala, coming forth with Zeitgeist. We have Toby Jones, who again needs no introduction. He has been in Harry Potter, Hunger Games, Captain America, and I could go on and on. So Matt has this incredible cast he put together. So thank you so much. We have 2 incredible casts, which for some reason, unfortunately, are missing. One of them is Dhritaman Chatterjee, and it's an honor to have had him in the film. Dhritaman Chatterjee is a Satyajit Ray actor and has played a very important part in the film. We also have one of my favorite actresses, Arundhati Nag, who was the winner of the Sangeet Natak and Sahitya Kala Parishad Award for the film Pa as the Best Supporting Actress. So even though they're not here, I do want to mention Arundhati Nag and Dhritaman Chatterjee, who Arundhati has played the mother of Janaki in the film. And we're very, very honored to have had this very esteemed cast put together. There are many more names. I'm sure Matt will fill you in. But I will now introduce Ed Pressman, a producer, who will tell you very little, and then we go on to Matt. But I would like to then have you ask the questions to them, which is the best way, rather than them telling you too much. And I'm just going to have them, kind of as say the bride being introduced. So I'm just going to have Ed speak a line and go on to Matt, Dev Patel, Devika Bise, and Toby Jones. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Swati. Thanks for having us here. The other person who's not here is, of course, Jeremy Irons, who's in a play, The Long Day's Journey into Night, in Bristol, England, and saw the film and loved it, and it was obviously a great asset to the whole production. This is a film that, as Matt said, took 9 years to come together. I came to Goa and Mumbai 8-9 years ago, trying to convince financiers to back such a film, and most of them wanted to do Star Wars. So it was not, even though Ramanujan was a great Indian hero, it seemed not a commercially viable film. But I think in the end, what brought it together was Matt's passion. That's what convinced Jeremy, and it's what convinced Dev, and I think he's done a marvelous job. It's really his first major film, and it's quite an accomplishment. I'm proud to be associated.
Thank you very much. Ed has stood by me with this film for about 10 years, and it's been a very long journey and perseverance on your part and everyone's part involved with this to bring it to life. This is an absolutely incredible moment to finally be here and getting the opportunity to introduce the film to you. That's what it's really been all about. So we're finally getting that opportunity, and I'm honored and I'm humbled for this to be the opening film of the festival. So it's an amazing moment personally, and also hopefully more so for Ramanujan and the story itself. So I'm very excited to have you all see it, and I look forward to answering your questions. Am I passing along to
Dave?
Okay.
I should just do this one. Hello. Yeah. I pretty much ditto what Matt said in a way. It's a great honor, a big source of pride to bring this story here, almost sacred in a way to bring Ramanujan's story back home, and we can't wait for tomorrow to unleash it to the masses. But yeah, we feel very humbled and happy.
Thank you. Devika?
I'm really, really happy to be part of this film, and thank you to Matt for entrusting me to play this part. And I have been coming to Goa about twice a year for the last 8 or 10 years, and I'm really excited that this movie will be at IFFI, and Indian audiences will finally be able to see a story about our hero who is Indian, and I think we'll be able to have an understanding of it that will be really amazing.
Toby Jones?
I'm very, very proud to be here for the first time at IFFI, and like Matt, I'm very proud to have been associated with this film about this extraordinary hero of mathematics, a hero of India. And it's very rare that one gets a script like this where you are dealing not with wars in space, but with ideas and relationships between people and bringing two cultures together. And I think that the film is an important film in rebalancing the way that the culture has traded between the two, England and India.
Joe Thomas.
Yeah, just it's been a dream of ours to do a truly cross-cultural film, and you know, right from the script and all the way to the production and the stories that came with the production and the friendship that developed. It's actually been a true dream come true, and to do it with this amazing group of people has been is really something that I'm personally proud of. And you know, being born in south of India, it's actually sitting here opening film of IFFI. It's really overwhelming in a way, but very, very proud to be part of this film. And thank you all for making this amazing.
And briefly, as associate producer India, I was very happy to share with Matt different aspects culturally, which he paid great attention to all the details of Ramanujan being not just from the south, but the Iyengar culture. So great attention was detailed into the Madisar sari, or the culture of what Ramanujan would do, or how Komalatama would behave, or what Janaki would do in that period. So that was the large input. As a Bharatanatyam dancer, obviously, as you're aware, the southern culture is very, very intricate, detailed, and complicated. So we have all of us together, along with the sensibilities of having this film for a global Hollywood audience. I hope you all really enjoy it, and I'm going to open it up for questions. If each of you could identify yourself and ask any of the producers and the cast questions. Yes?
My name is Siraj Syed. I'm the India correspondent for filmfestivals.com Paris. The question is addressed to Matthew. The contribution of scientists to a field of knowledge which translates into things like Star Wars is itself a fascinating subject, because you need mathematics and physics to even conceive a project like Star Wars. So did any of the contributions of mathematicians and physicists to the medium itself lead you on to the contribution of a great mathematician and scientist? And part B is that are you dealing with the entire lifespan of this person in a docu-feature style, or have you taken a lot of liberties in making it more feature fiction oriented to appeal to a larger audience? I know that you have to take certain liberties, but is this widely fictional or true to the original?
Okay, well, the first question about the science. I mean, these men were pure mathematicians. So for them, application, the idea of application wasn't, especially set against the Great War, as that's when the story takes place. So a lot of the science of that time, they were trying to use it to build weaponry, and that was quite tragic. In fact, Toby's character, Littlewood, wound up having to help design ballistics, which was against everything that they believed. So I think of them as artists, pure mathematicians, and that's how I see the science in it. And as far as coming to the story, the great book by Robert Kanigel, The Man Who Knew Infinity, that's what inspired me, and I read that book, and I was drawn to the characters and drawn to the story. So I can't say that the science led me to it. I think the human story is what led me to this. As far as the second question about biopics are complicated in general, because you've got a whole lifespan of a character, and you have to pick and choose how you want to tell that. I tried to err on the side of authenticity with this film. It's probably why it took 10 years to make. It's difficult. I didn't obviously cover the whole lifespan. I narrowed it down to the years that the year prior to Cambridge, and to his years in Cambridge, and briefly to his return. So that's where the heart of this story lay, and that's what I focused on.
Thank you.
Just a moment. We'll get a mic.
Actually, I'm a student of mathematics. So mathematics is very, very, say, what is called no sort of juicy subject. It is, it is not a juicy subject, you know.
Yeah.
It is a very hard subject. So secondly, about the mathematicians, you may also be knowing, if you don't like mathematics, so liking is the main thing here. And if you don't like it, oh, mathematics, I don't know, my brain is not working like that way. So it is a very targeted group who study the mathematics. So I want to say, here one is a man who is attached to throughout his life with mathematics. And this is the cinema. So what are the cinema stuff you got in his life to inspire you to give this sort of mathematics punch with the cinema?
I'm sorry, I'm having a little trouble with the question at the end.
Question
I'll
is,
just-
cinema is this.
I'll just help you with that, Matt. He just wants to know that a character like Ramanujan with mathematics, how is it going to be appealing to the masses through the story? What is it that you used to make it appealing?
Well, we didn't want to shy away from the mathematics. I didn't want to. I had a wonderful book that made the mathematics something that I could try to understand on a philosophical level. So there was that, and then I had wonderful teachers, and so I wanted this film to try to take on the mathematics, and it's in the dialogue, and it's ever present with the story. So I think what the audience responds to is passion. I mean, it's the passion of these artists, of these mathematicians, and that's what helps make it accessible, and then the human story beneath that. So and I also think that in actually, as a writer, especially in taking on the mathematics and not shying away from it, I think it actually opened up doors and themes that were reflective of the characters and what they were going through. I mean, it was interesting that it was partitions that we wound up focusing on. It was something that was easier for the layman to try to grasp, but also the idea of partitions and these two people that are so different coming together. And there was a number of themes, and I felt like it wound up being reflective in the film itself. But I think overall, it's the passion of artists, and we can see it whether it's a painter, whether it's a musician, whether it's a sculptor. And if you can see that, you can relate, and I think the audience gets emotionally invested in wanting them to succeed.
Have you seen any, say, romantic, say, life in his, say, own arena of mathematics? I mean, he has any romantic life, which is creating interest to the audiences and means spectators, those who are witnessing this movie.
Is there a romantic aspect to it? Yes.
Yeah.
We started the film. Yeah. Well, a juicy bit of math. I think it's the relationship with his wife that's that I think the audience, I'll let you see the film and see how sexy the mathematics is.
My name is Prabhash Mukhopadhyay. I am representing one of the leading, say, newspaper from West Bengal, which is nearer to Calcutta. Thank you very much. We are
Thank you.
welcoming to Calcutta.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yes? Please hand the mic back.
Hello, Matt. I'm Shubhashri Desikan from Chennai, from the Hindu Chennai.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, nice to see you.
Nice to see you. So I have a question. It's not meant as a, I'm not as a criticism to start with, but in most biopics, the hero is the protagonist is chosen to look like the character he plays, right? And Ramanujan was stocky, dark-skinned, and with hypnotic eyes, no doubt, but hardly the handsome hero type. So what made you choose Dev for this?
Well, I think he's a fantastic actor, and he brought such a nuanced performance to this. He's intuitive. He's amazing, and he really he touched my soul when I was directing him in this film. So I feel honored and privileged to have worked with him, and I think that when you do a biopic, you don't I mean, Jeremy doesn't. I mean, he captured Hardy, but he doesn't. I mean, he was 30 years older than Hardy was, but I felt like he was the right actor for that role, and I hope when you see the film that you'll feel that way too. Yeah, and that's pretty much how I feel about that.
Thank you.
Yes.
We'll just deviate a little bit from the audiences because we have quite a few questions on Twitter and Facebook. I would request my colleague Narayanan to pose the questions.
Hi, I'm Narayanan, Director Social Media for Press Information Bureau. So we ran a hashtag campaign on our Twitter handle and we got a lot of questions. So we just wanted to pick up a couple of questions to ask. First question is from Prakrut Chavan on Twitter. So she's asking, did Dev Patel like maths as a school student? That's a question.
It's so funny. As a matter of fact, I was terrible at mathematics. It was probably my worst subject, and it's actually worse because my father's an accountant. So I was quite the embarrassment in that, field. But hey, that's his life. I'm playing one of the greats now, so I think, there's a lot of acting that was involved. Let's just say that.
Yeah, and second question is from Divya Singhal. She's asking, what kind of exposure are you hoping to get with this international film festival, especially in India?
Is this for me?
Yeah, I mean, this is for the whole crew and the directors.
What kind of exposure? I think it was a very important agenda for us to always bring this story back to India. My heritage comes from Gujarat, and I feel a great responsibility to breathe life into great Indian icons like Ramanujan, and I'm lucky enough to be able to do so and help, push projects like these forward. And with that responsibility, I read the script and Matt was just so incredible. So we can't wait, really.
I'd just like to take you up on that. Just as Richard Attenborough had made Gandhi, what I think we're very happy about is someone like Matt Brown has brought Ramanujan to India. And with great sensitivity, has shown the aspect how it was in India, with a relationship with his wife and a relationship with his mother, to understand two strong women. One, a mother figure, is in the South, we know what that is. And in his relationship of having to leave as a Brahmin Iyengar boy all the way to Cambridge, what a huge sacrifice that was in the pursuit of knowledge. Again, to have this amazing mentor like Hardy and Jeremy Irons, the relationship between these two men, his yearning for his home, his culture, the sambar and rice and not having to eat vegetarian food, the conditions at Trinity and in England at that period, and whether it was racism or the sensitivity of food, where if the food was not really vegetarian, adding a little bit of carrots in a chicken stock, as vegetables. So I think that it's really important that both Ed and Matt have made a film that has brought Ramanujan from Hollywood back to India. And that's something that I think it's a privilege for India to be able to say that we celebrate Ramanujan, especially as December 22nd is his birthday and Mathematics Day. And I also would like to answer one more. They used the expertise. I think Matt worked very closely with Ken Ono and Manjul Bhargav, so two of the leading mathematicians, one of them who has won the Fields Award and the Padma Shri, and they would have been here, but I think everyone's had very busy schedules. And they've worked for a long time with exactly the formulas, how they were written, how partitions was done. So a lot of attention was given to each aspect of the film to bring the realistic quality forward. I'll give it to Matt.
Thank you. Everything she said. Is there another question?
Yeah, would you like to answer that question also?
It's not. As far as the exposure of the film, I mean,
Yeah.
This is why I'm here. We've traveled a great distance to be here because this is so important to us. This is the one festival that we feel so honored to be a part of, to be able to have this film be seen in India, where he's from. I mean, the story I wrote of his story the first act largely deals with his time before he gets to Cambridge, and I always felt like it was extremely important to get to know Ramanujan culturally, where he comes from, or else it just didn't have the same meaning, what he had given up and what his hero's story is all about. So it's extremely important to me as a writer and the director of the film, and I'm just thrilled to this day is finally here, to almost here tomorrow, so it's great.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
मेरा सवाल देविका जी से है. देविका जी, ये रामानुजम को तो मैथमेटिशियन के रूप में हम लोगों ने काफ़ी जाना है, किताबों में पढ़ा है, पर देविका के कैरेक्टर को बहुत नहीं जाना है अभी तक. तो इस फिल्म के जरिए से उसकी क्या खूबियाँ हम लोग को पता चलेंगी?
Just to translate it to all of you, not Devika, because she does get it. What is your name?
नम्रता.
Namrata ji, and what newspaper?
मैं फ्रीलांस हूँ.
Freelance. She wants to know that Janaki has not been known too well as yet to the public, and so how is it that she is playing this role, and how much do you know about Janaki for you to be able to have brought it to the forefront?
You know, I actually got to speak with Robert Canigal, who was the author of the book.
उन्होंने Robert Canigal से बात की थी.
And he met Janaki prior to her death.
उनके मृत्यु के पहले वो जानकी जी से मिले थे.
And she was quite old, but I think the incredible thing she achieved in her life and her ability to give back as well spoke to the kindness she had and the strength she had earlier on in her life.
उनमें बहुत दृढ़ता थी और सहानुभूति थी. उन्होंने बहुत रामानुजन जी के मृत्यु के बाद बच्चों का भी स्कूल खोला था, तो वो कैरेक्टर और उनकी जो उम्र, छोटी उम्र में शादी हुई थी, वो सब उन्होंने फिल्म में दिखाया है.
Yes, can I, unless there's anyone else? Okay. Matthew, you said you erred on the side of authenticity if necessary. How easy or how difficult was it to access footage, photographs and documents that you might have used, if you have used them? And do you have a lot of such material in the film, or the story and the characterization speaks for itself? Do you rely heavily on archival material like film clips of documents or photographs? And how difficult was it for you to sort of
Sure.
achieve?
We don't use them. I mean, I don't want to give anything away in the film, but
in general, without being
in general,
specific.
no. It's been a wonderful experience for me to learn so much. Robert opened up all his research to me. We actually became very good friends over the years with this project. So he opened up all of his research, and that is treasure troves. I have seen documentaries. I've seen. I tried to, everywhere possible, even take written material and use it in dialogue in places so that the real characters could actually say some of the words they said, like Vice Master Jackson. I got the minutes from the meetings at Trinity, from the UDC meetings, so that I could actually use some of that dialogue as it was. I probably am insane with some of the level of which I did it, but it was a joy for me. Then I had a lot of help and a lot of support.
Thank you.
Have you learned any mathematics after that?
Well, no, I can't do any mathematics. No. I have a deep appreciation for them, though, at this point.
Infinite possibilities.
Hello. Yeah, my question is to Dev Patel. Yeah, it's your... Yes.
What newspaper, please?
No, I'm a freelancer. My name is Devika Sequeira. I want to know how difficult it is for an Asian actor to break into the really big league in the West. And do you often tend to get typecast? I mean, do you play only Indian characters, Asian characters?
It's weird. You know, one of my mottos is trying to see an obstacle as an opportunity. So, you know, people use the word typecast very loosely. And like I said earlier on, I've turned something that people will look at as a negative into something that's quite positive, you know. And I don't mind being a sort of ambassador, you know, to my culture. That being said, you know, does it require a bit more hard work, I think, to get my foot in the door? Yes. Do people scrutinize the decisions I make more? Yes. So, you know, there's pros and cons. I get to play a character like Ramanujan, but you know, Hollywood's becoming more and more diverse, you know. So I'm really lucky because I rode the wave of this incredible film Slumdog, which is my first project, and that kind of opened a lot of doors for a lot of actors, including myself in it. It was kind of the film was bigger than anyone that was in it, really. So you know, I'm very lucky, but I'm not one to go on about any kind of, I haven't faced any kind of obtuse discrimination in any way. It's been a good journey, you know, positives and negatives. So you know, I'm young right now, and I'm looking forward to what's going to happen next. In terms of, sorry to harp on, in terms of being typecast, a film I did recently with Neil Blomkamp, you know, he sat down with me and he was just like, you know, I want you to play this character. I was like, his name's Dion Wilson, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. So there's little wins like that mean a big deal to me. But everyone jumps on the bandwagon. I did a show called Newsroom with Aaron Sorkin, and it's about journalism. And, you know, everyone's like, oh my God, you're the technological guy, you're the Indian IT dude, blah, blah, blah. And it's easy for people to say that, but I look at that show and think, wait a minute, everyone's uber intelligent. It's an Aaron Sorkin TV show. You know, I just happen to be the social media guy because that's where he believes news is heading. You know, it's an outlet that, you know, you can get things out a lot quicker and access to youth. So I'm very wary of that term typecast, basically, you know, if that makes any sense.
Thank you, Dave. And on that note, we'd like to end with just saying we're very, very proud to present this film as the opening film. To share briefly with you, this was the gala film where it premiered at Toronto at the Roy Thompson Hall with 2,000 seating, which was packed. It was the opening film for the Zurich Film Festival, the 11th Zurich. And this is the third film festival that we're opening at, and hopefully heading to both Dubai and Singapore and many more places before it opens up in New York and worldwide under the banner of IFFI. And we're very proud to be here as an Indian film at the opening of IFFI, as it is a Government of India venture. So thank you for acknowledging this wonderful movie, and I thank you all for inviting everyone from New York and Australia and Singapore. But I also, above all, thank all of you for making it here and coming all the way and participating despite your very heavy schedules. Thank you again, and namaskar.